I was unemployed at the time, sending out letters. Sometimes they would send me rejection letters, and I remember clearly, for one, I wrote corrections to their letter and sent it back to them because you can't be rejecting me with wrong English. That's foolishness. So I was unemployed, and I was like, but I don't get it, God. But then I realized, no, I was like, wait. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a lifestyle channel. As you know, today I am here with 3 of my former schoolmates, Leonis, Patrice, and Andrea. And we are going to be just having a casual discussion, nothing too serious, about our relationship with God and how it impacts every facet of our lives. Because, you know, as believers, your relationship with God should impact every facet of your life. So I'm just going to allow the ladies to introduce themselves while I scour for something for us to eat.
So, protocol has already been established. My name is Andrea Boye. I am 25 years old, soon to be a new age. I have a daughter. I am a child of God. 1 year going, I have recently been trusted with a new but familiar assignment. I'm a teacher. Yeah, that's it for me.
My name is Leonis Cruikshank. I'm 25 years old as well. I am from Layu. I guess I can say I'm a people person. I naturally love people. I love God more though. But yeah, I guess you guys will learn more about me as we go through this episode.
Hi, my name is Patrice. I'm a mom of 1 son. I love Jesus. I love poetry. And I'm just here with my friends. I don't know.
And y'all already know me, so no need for all of that. But if you are new to my channel, I am Janiel. So I just want to know from each of you, when did you get saved? How did it happen? Who wants to go first?
Andrea.
I'm the most recent, I guess.
Oh well.
So, as we all know, life is highly spiritual, and if you don't know, you know. So, a couple weeks, or maybe like 2 months before I got saved, I dreamt I was gonna get married to a familiar person. But walking up the aisle, I had on a white dress and everything. Walking up the aisle, it felt off. Walking up the aisle, it felt off. So I was like, And then this person turned into a demon, like legit scary demon. That was the first time I had an encounter with demons. And he had a really big knife running me down, and I was running and screaming for my life. And then I ran into this house. And then the person in the house, he told me, stand up and fight. And then the dream ended there. And then after that, I knew I had to go to church because I couldn't sleep for weeks. I couldn't sleep for weeks. I had to play the John Eckard, I hope I pronounced the word right, prayers that wrote out demons. Every time I finished, I had to start it over. So I had like 3 weeks, no sleep, literally. And then I went to church, which is LMC. That's the only you. And I was just sitting there minding my business, you know. Didn't go for Jesus because that was on my mind, although and I was scared. I was playing with my baby cousin Israel at the time. And then the prophet of the church just said, 8 of you resisting the Holy Ghost. And then something came over me and I started to cry. I didn't know what the something was, but now I know it was the presence. I started to cry. I cried and I was praying. And then after that, I just had a hunger, zeal, a passion for the things of God. And then, you know, the rest was history. I'm here now, a year and a couple of months in.
my story is a bit different. I actually grew up in church, right? I was born in church, but I got baptized when I was in Form 4, so I was probably 15. I was probably 15 at the time. But even when I got baptized, I felt as if I went down a dry sinner and came back up a wet sinner. No, seriously. That is how I felt at the time, right? I'm not sure why I did it, but I could remember I was gonna back out, and someone who was getting baptized with me at the same time, he was like, no, let's do this, So I went along with it, but I wasn't really feeling, or I didn't have that relationship with God. However, in second year college, 2015, I described that as my encounter with God, because God just came after me when I wasn't even looking for him, right? And to understand it, like at that second year college, you know how college is.
Yeah. The ghetto, for those of you who don't know.
Right. So I was kind of being rebellious, but I'm not, because I grew up in a Christian household, right? Yeah. So for me to go, Mommy, I'm going out tonight, that wasn't happening. That wasn't happening, right? But I was rebelling against God, because while I was participating, I would go out to places where I shouldn't go. And I realized my father, like, he took a step back. So I was like, yeah, but I started to get my way. Nobody's stopping me. I could go wherever, I could do whatever I want. Little did I know, I found out after, he said, he gave me to God. Had he not done that, I might have been even more rebellious, right?
Right.
So when he gave me to God, God came after me. God pursued me when I wasn't looking for him. Because I can remember, my best friend was sister, Chrisan, which you guys might know. I was already planning my Black Rave outfits. I was like, well, this year, we graduating college, I doing my thing. Literally. And I was already planning outfits, like carnival shows and whatever the case is. But God had other plans, and he really captured my heart up to this day. Like, every time I think about that year, I always get filled with emotions, because I really was not looking for God, but he came after me. And that is how I would describe my experience, because though I was baptized, I never really encountered God until 2015. And my life has not been the same since then.
Well, I think that we didn't grow up with the presence, and that's the problem. So we used to think like, yeah, you could be lukewarm. You could just do whatever you feel. And then, Revelation spoke about that. I was like, don't be lukewarm. Hot or nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I also grew up in church. I remember, like, always had this interest and this love for the things of God, but I didn't know God. So, like, when they would have altar calls at church, like every crusade, Patrice would be going off. And I was very involved, singing, reading scriptures, whatever, but I didn't know God. And I was 15. I was 15 when I got baptized, and that year I was struggling with a lot at home. I remember hating my father, literally wishing that he would die, go to work and drop off a building or some crazy thing.
That's serious?
Yeah, that was me. And I was just bitter and unhappy at that point. And I felt like, how can I be living in this house and my father hates me? Well, that's how I felt, and I hate him too. But then I met a father.
Amen.
Like, God just began like ministering to me as a father would minister to a child, and I felt his love, I felt his peace, I felt his presence, and I wanted more of it. So I began to press into it. I began to study his word a lot, and I would pray to him while reading, and he would just show me himself. I would be writing poetry, I'd be writing songs, writing sermons at that age. And ever since, he's just been my love. I've never
Prophetess Patrice.
I've never had a desire to walk away from him, and like even in those moments when I would get distant from him, he like literally never left me. He's like always there, like that
Amen.
friend that just in your skin.
Amen.
That's him for me.
Yeah. Well, I have a similar story. I'm wondering if it's Vincentian culture to just grow up in church. But I mean, well, I born and meet my father, pastor. So
PK.
yeah, that PK life, tears, many tears. Like most people say that PKs are either, just bad like yours, doing the most, or they're like extremely sheltered and kind of trippity. But I never really found that I fit into either category. Like I was very naive with some things and a little trippity.
Weird.
But then,
weird.
yeah,
Weird.
exactly.
Weird.
But like, I also was always very outspoken.
Yes.
Very in people's face. Okay, you agreed a bit too hard to me. Okay. But like, I realized very young that yes, I was weird and I was very different. And I never really had a desire to be normal. I never had a desire to fit in because I was like, normal people seem kind of boring. Like I don't know what they have going on, but I rather what I have going on. Although it was isolating.
That
at
making a
some
lot of
point.
sense growing up with you in like secondary school.
Yeah, I used to be doing some things. Okay, like even now, I look back and I'm like, geez, I was weird. But back to my relationship with God. When I was like 5, I remember strongly feeling that I want a serious relationship with God. Wow. And when I was like, I want to be saved and this and that, my mother's like, you even know what that means? And I'm like, yes, because we were going to VBS and stuff. So I was like, I want this Jesus person. And I prayed a prayer, and I remember it going something like, dear God, even when no one loves me, help me to always feel loved by you. And yeah,
Chills, literally.
and that kind of set the precedence for me trying to live a godly life. But then honestly, when I was like around 11, some things happened that kind of caused me to start going downhill. Not in the normal wild out type of way, but I was very, very angry. I had a lot of anger. I suffered with chronic depression for years until I was like around 18, when I was looking at my 2 sisters who were at UE, and their relationship with God just seemed to be flourishing. Like my sisters were doing deliverance at their house and all these things, and I'm like, they're ministering to people, and I was like, I want that. Like I remember feeling at some point that sort of intense passion for God. I want that again.
See, that's your posture is important.
Yes. And I actually had something to say about that, but that's like later. But I was unemployed at the time, sending out letters, and sometimes they would send me rejection letters. And I remember clearly, for one, I wrote corrections to their letter and sent it back to them, because you can't be rejecting me with wrong English. That's foolishness. So I was unemployed, and I'm like, but I don't get it, God. But then I realized, no, I was like doing the most. I remember thinking, let me use this time when I have nothing going on to try and get close to God, because I had the house to myself. I could pray, like I could cry, I could just be.
Yeah.
And I started writing out scriptures, the promises of God, like really praying and stuff. And around that time is when I first got filled with the Holy Spirit, and I was like, this is a different level from what I've experienced before, and I want this to be like my norm. And yes, I would say I kind of had 2 encounters, but like the second one was more real to me because I had a better understanding, but the first one was more pure because of the age I was and that kind of thing. What are some changes you guys noticed in yourselves after you became saved? Like, what was that like?
So, one, I got a sense of peace. This peace is like unexplainable. And I think it comes, one, from the presence and from knowing God and feeling His love. Two, I think, the old man died for real. Because me back then, I don't know that person. I do not know that person. And sometimes when I feel like that person is coming back, I know it's an attack. Because last year, I probably got upset like 3 times, to be honest. 3 times. I probably cried outside the presence, probably like 2. Like for stuff I can't control.
Yes.
But I think in terms of change, Galatians 5, I believe the fruits, I'm really seeing the fruits. Patience, self-control, shutting my mouth when people bother me, especially. Self-control,
Not the conviction.
joy. So joy, peace, self-control, patience, for sure. Those 4, I'm seeing them in my life. I will just summarize it in peace. The sense of peace, and I will do anything for that peace. So whatever change I need to do, I will do it to keep this peace, to keep Him and His presence in my life.
But that actually kind of answers the next question I had, because that was about how did your relationship with God affect your other relationships. So,
Well, apart from family, I lost all my friends except my best friend.
oh wow.
I lost all my friends because even her, it was a bit of a
Over now
distance. I think they had to adapt to the new me, and I was setting boundaries as well. So they had to adapt to, okay, we ain't talking comments no more, so don't bring that for me. Okay, don't bring them kind of slap talk for me. I'm not gonna flirt with you, them kind of things. So it was just setting boundaries and them adjusting to the boundaries, because now some of the friends that I lost, I think now they understand me, they understand what I'm about, they understand this life. Some of them, they even asking questions, and of course I'm happy to answer. So I've lost most of my friends, but those who are supposed to be here, they're back.
That's
It's coming around too.
That's excellent. I hope y'all don't mind me eating. Hope I don't look too greedy.
Yeah, she look greedy.
But y'all don't know how it is already. I am greedy. So
For me, I had to laugh because it's so funny how
Is this my order?
so similar
Yeah.
we all are. It's definitely peace for me, right? Because prior to 2015 in college, like I was just fearful. Like it's important to say, like, I wanted to serve God, but I wanted to experience the world. That's how it was for a long time, right? So I was like in a balance because
Fighting fresh.
sister wanna die and go to hell. But sister wanna enjoy, but everybody seems to be enjoying at the time. So I was constantly paranoid and fearful. Like I'll be walking the road and the world starts to come to me. Like I could just drop down dead. All these people come and just knock me down and end my life right here on the spot. I'll be in a van and it's like I'm literally having anxiety attack silently because I feel as if the van could just get an accident anytime and I die and I'm not sure where I'm gonna go. So when I experienced God,
Emotional person, what you always.
when I don't
no, because you see, I don't think people understand that when you're not looking for somebody and somebody looks for you regardless and just showers you with love, how that really feels. And when I experienced God and I felt His love, like instantly that fear went away.
Yeah.
Instantly. There wasn't any day after, half an hour after. Instantly I felt His love and I knew I was okay. I knew I was safe. Right? And when that happened, I started being joyful. Like naturally, I'm a bubbly person. Since I was small growing up, I was always that child to smile and right. I was always that. But there was a point in my life, I think, transitioning from high school to college. I was smiling, but I was feeling really empty on the inside.
performative.
And I was like, why does I feel this way? Like, why is it that
Most of the world, I believe.
yeah.
If you ain't over here, you ain't got that peace, I know that for a fact.
But I'm not genuinely happy. Like, I'm smiling, I'm making everybody laugh, but something on the inside of me felt like it was dying. It wasn't like when I was growing up, and that really was humbling me. Like, it was really getting to me. And when I felt that peace, I started being happy again. I was joyful. I was just filled with hope. Like at the time I encountered God, I was home like you. So that was the season like where God prepared me. Because had I gone to St. Vincent and started walking, I don't think I would have been a Christian still. Seriously, like so God really used that season to mold me, to kind of root me, to kind of broke me. That when he sent me out there, I'm not shaken. I don't want what other people have because I know what I have. Right? So he really prepared me. It affected my relationships in many ways, especially when it came to my friends. Like I can remember being told I'm faking it.
Wow.
I can't be really that happy.
They don't know me.
And I felt really bad. And like I was like, and I started to say, I was like, no, I'm not faking this. I could never fake this. And you know, it came to when I remember I said I would do second year college. This is when everybody at the peak, you know. Well, not everybody, but most courses they going out.
Yeah, most persons. I can't relate.
Yeah, I was never.
I was home scrubbing bathroom. You know that.
I was a hot girl period. That's why I'm here to stay because I've experienced that. And that ain't it.
And my friends, like, they would be cursing, and I felt so uncomfortable hearing them curse bad words, and they'll be drinking, and the very vibes that they are around, like, I just felt so uncomfortable. And it had a point where I stopped saying, hey, I can't go to y'all. I just can't. And I can remember a parent calling me and saying, oh, your friends don't feel as if, you know, you're not studying.
A parent?
Yes.
Wow.
Because I had a really close friend. She felt really bad because she felt as if I just went into this Christian thing and I just abandoned, right? And they couldn't understand that what I had, what I was gaining from Christ was more because there are times I felt so alone that nobody could understand. There are times I felt so alone I didn't even understand why I felt alone. And to have God come and just make me feel so whole, even when I myself could understand I wasn't going to trade that for anybody. And you know, I could understand. And at one point, I felt like I should give up my friends. Right? I felt that way, and it was a Tuesday night. At that time, I was attending Layu, Miracle Church, and I was going by my aunt for something to eat. And while walking across the road, I heard in my spirit, it didn't have to be you. That is what I heard. It didn't have to be you. And I went to my aunt. Thankfully, nobody else was home, so I had the key. I was going to the house.
Yeah.
And I sat there. And I said, it didn't have to be me. And I started to cry because it didn't have to be me. Like, it didn't have to be me that God saved. They couldn't understand what I was feeling because they were still in darkness, right? And for me to just leave them by the wayside, if it was somebody else who was experiencing what I was experiencing, I wouldn't want them to leave me by the wayside. You understand? And I started to cry because I was like, Lord, I don't know, help me to reach out to them and know how to see this light in me so that they could want it as well. And yes, I had to keep my boundaries, but at the same time, I couldn't just leave them. You understand? It wasn't the same for me to reach out and communicate with them still. I would say, okay, well, if we're going out, this is what I'm not going in these places. I don't want anybody causing bad words around me. Boundaries I set in place because at the end of the day, God reminded me, He spoke to me, He told me that they are my friends still and they also have souls. Right? And if they die, I don't want them. They're my friends. I love them. Right? And I can remember we even had times when we'll go out and I was like, God, if anything is supposed to happen, accident, I was like, I'd rather die than anyone of them die because I knew I'm going. And I used to always put the protection, you know, even if we were going out, I would always put protection. I would always say, Lord, you have my life. If anything is supposed to happen, just know you could take me. That's the kind of love I had for them because I wanted them to experience God as well. So peace and joy definitely fruits that I experienced firsthand, and that is how it changed. It actually caused me to love friends more on a deeper level, on a higher level. So
if I could just piggyback on something you said, like it was similar for me in terms of like friends because I never really had a moment where I was like, oh, I need to like cut off my friends because something I've been praying since small is, God, if it's not for me, just cut it out. Like I consider Jesus to be the bouncer of my club. So any guys I'm talking to who I like, I'm like, God, I kind of feeling this, but if it's going to be a waste of my time, because there's nothing I hate more than wasting time. I just be like, just do it with that, like, just mash it up. I don't really care how you do it, just get rid of it. And God has done that every time. Similar thing with friends. Like, I've had people who I thought would be there, like, for the long haul, because they were there for a couple of years, and then to just have them fall off by the wayside. But then something that God has been really ministering to me about lately is we have this constructed idea of what evangelism should look like crusades and going out and door knocking and stuff.
Evangelize every day on WhatsApp, baby.
Exactly. Like, your life is such a powerful testimony.
It is.
And I realized this because over the past 4 years, I have had several different friends come to message me to either say that they want to take their relationship with God seriously, or hey, like, I finally did it, I'm finally saved, where do I go from here? And for me, I feel so special that, like, they reach out to me to help them, because that means that they're
seeing something in you.
Exactly. So even the years when I was, like, really struggling with depression and stuff and anxiety, it's not like I really did it in secret, because I used to talk about it, but at the same time I was still always, like, the happy funny friend. So everybody was like, oh, kiki, your joke's kind of dark, but it's funny. Not knowing that I was, like, struggling with suicidal ideation for literally every day for about around 9 years. And it was a process getting delivered from that, and it's something that I spoke about recently when I think it was 2019. This prophet came to our church and he was praying for me, and he said, God says he's going to deliver you from depression. And because I had been, like, severely depressed since I was, like, 11, it had become my norm. I grew up, I had all my formative years with that. So I couldn't even imagine what life would be like without it. And I was like, well, I guess, like, I believe you, God. And last year was such a horrible train wreck of a year for so many people. But for me, last year was amazing.
Me too.
And it's not that everything was perfect or everything was working out, but the level of peace and joy that thank you, don't forget to leave an offering. Listen, the level of peace and joy, it's like I was seeing things crumbling around me, but I was just like, I am so happy.
Right, so for me, remember that hatred, that bitterness, it left me, and I learned to forgive. Amen. My father, and I also struggled with, wanting to feel loved, wanting to feel accepted, wanting to fit in with my friends. I never did, but I remember him loving me. I remember feeling like, if everybody else don't feel me, they're not anything, like, this guy loved me. And I also struggled a lot, like Leonis, with faith. And he gave me boldness. I remember, like, I would be going to school, coming from school, and I would be just talking to a stranger and say, do you know Jesus?
Okay, wow.
And stuff like that. I had this passion to talk. I love crying. Like,
I think that's something you develop over here
crying
too.
for like
a
Compassion
tenderness.
and
everything,
and that's why I had to put my glasses on, because
Jesus makes you soft.
yes, yes.
like
All the savage too.
Literally.
so then it's like, he changes your heart.
Yes.
He changes your heart. And
Heart of stone to a heart of
I
flesh.
would just about to say that.
and he gave me a certain sense of integrity and
Yes.
value. Like,
Yes. Oh, Jesus.
like I had friends, and
That
they were
value,
going out and whatever, and my parents were strict, but it's like he took away that desire from me, like wanting to fit in,
Yes.
wanting to be
Yeah.
with the crowd, you know, like
And
they going out, I want to
consecration.
go too, and he took it away. And I remember I used to listen to a lot of like Vibes Cartel and them things.
I don't look like that
I
person.
remember that.
Right, in secret, I couldn't let my mommy know that, oh my daddy, but yeah, and rap too, like, that's where my friends used to listen, and like, it's like, no, I can't listen to this anymore,
Yeah, me, I
like, be
don't.
honest, like, the dirty words, I couldn't, you know, and around that time, I felt like betrayed by a lot of my friends, because it's like, they turning against you, like, it's like, oh, you are play or whatever, and I felt, at one point, like, alone, but then not alone, because like you had this battle.
I feel like in this life, that loneliness is something that at some point you had to go through to realize, like, it's not really loneliness, but consecration is very critical in this life, because you can be filled with too much stuff, then God can't fill you.
So to just piggyback on what you guys are saying about loneliness, this is something that I realized when I was at UE. I got really sick and I couldn't speak for like maybe over a week. And for me, I mean, yeah, I love talk. So I was distraught. And it made me realize how, because I wasn't the one starting conversations, how many people just like fell off. And that period was also one of the lowest for me in terms of like being depressed and stuff, because some of the people who I expected to visit me in the hospital, they didn't, and I literally almost died. And I was just thinking that if you really study the Bible, almost every single person has had that preparation period.
Yeah.
Like David didn't have an audience when he was tending to the sheep. He was just doing what he's supposed to do before he was platformed. And a lot of times we want the anointing and the blessings and the prestige that comes with the platform without the pain of the preparation. Exactly, the crushing, because in order to get the oil out of the olive, it has to be crushed. But as soon as, you know, we get a little press, we're like, oh my God, please, Lord.
There's a most soon.
So yeah, that's what I was just thinking about, you know, loneliness, being alone. And they're two different things, because you can be alone and just have a sense of solitude but not be lonely. And I think that many people in this life are extremely unhappy with themselves, and something that has been coming out is peer pressure. Like we've been talking about, you know, feeling a sense of judgment or feeling a sense of wanting to belong with friends, and many times these friends that you want to be like, they are struggling, but they are pretending that all is well, because misery loves company. So it's like, if I can get this person in the mix with me, it's not necessarily that they have bad intentions, but they just want company, you know. So as you guys can see, we had a very long and fruitful discussion. It's not over yet, guys. There is still much more that we have not even scratched the surface of. Thank you for joining me for episode 1 of Candid Convos. And next week there's going to be a part 2 in which we not only discuss love and dating, but we also discuss parenting. So you guys would want to tune in for that. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Please comment your thoughts, comment your own experiences. I want to know everything about you. And of course, don't let nobody take your fade yet. This we know. Bye.